Hello and welcome to our channel. In today's video, we will explore some complex themes of masculinity in the Fight Club. This groundbreaking novel challenges societal norms by revealing the hidden vulnerabilities of its strong and dominant male characters. Join us as we unravel the layers of masculinity and question the stereotypes that shape our understanding of modern men. Welcome. The Fight Club significantly challenges the social construction of masculinity by exhibiting its main characters as apparently strong and dominant individuals, who, nevertheless, mask their insecurities, wounds, and fears behind a facade of invulnerability. In this context, it becomes clear how social pressure and the prevailing need to maintain an image of insensitivity can induce men to repress their emotions and suffer in silence, which raises a substantial question regarding the conventional stereotypes associated with masculinity. Therefore, the main objective of this video essay is to contrast the ideal of masculinity that prevails in society with the representation that emerges from the aforementioned novel, in relation to the different situations that an ordinary man faces, as well as the possible physical and emotional implications that these situations entail.
To analyze the topic that we propose for this essay, I first want to analyze the following quote. In our society, an imaginary concept of masculinity has been created, often associating it with toughness, physical, and mental strength. However, these stereotypes put pressure on men to meet these standards, leading to internal problems and dissatisfaction. Now, let's analyze the following scene from the movie. In this part, we can see how through Tyler's character, the novel explores the limits of male identity, which questions the traditional ways of emotional expression and release. In this case, aggression is seen as a way in which men confront and negotiate their identities in a world where they feel non-conforming.
Now, let's think for a second about the male figures we have around us. How do we recognize them? What characteristics do we attribute to them? Surely we think of strength, mental fortitude, and impenetrability. And it's not without reason. In fact, the male figure is generally recognized as the one who is more prone to develop aggressive behaviors, or who is more predisposed to initiate a physical conflict. This is highly questionable insofar as male control of emotions is relegated to other levels, and the pressure to preserve that attitude, predisposed, and defensive appearance in the face of any threat remains latent. Although aggressiveness is not the ideal way to express any type of feeling or emotion, society, framed in contemporary culture, doesn't condemn this type of acts, but rather normalizes them, even more so in the male universe. Before continuing, it is necessary to refer to the term aggression, which is defined by Martín in an investigation called Human Aggressiveness and its Interpretations as any form of conduct intended to physically or psychologically hurt someone. Such conduct generates displeasure, discomfort, and rejection. Precisely because of this, it is unacceptable. However, in the film, these provocations and fierce encounters lose their condemnable character and become part of the lifestyle of the characters in the novel. It is worth noting that this lifestyle is to the liking of all of them, since they have found in these practices the answer they had been looking for a long time. Faced with this panorama, the characters in the Fight Club resort to physical aggression to externalize a myriad of internal conflicts they were unable to manage in other types of spaces, perhaps more conventional and less condemnable. This, it could be said, is one of the characteristics that the characters shared among themselves. The constant repression of emotions, frustration, or vulnerability through words, and the inability to express pain. In the words of Martín, the theories that consider aggressiveness as a response to adverse stimuli argue that pain is sufficient reason to trigger aggression in individuals. Even today, suspicion towards certain manifestations of male pain, such as crying or any other expression of sensitivity, is conceived as a lack of malice. Another interesting point about this particular theme is that the motivation of the characters in Fight Club is not based on generating physical harm to others, but arises from an internal conflict that these men try to resolve through violence. That is, the characters in Fight Club do not fight for the simple pleasure of violence, but instrumentalize the other, turning him into an object through which they can channel their own drives and unresolved internal conflicts. The fight becomes a psychological survival mechanism rather than an end in itself.
Third, and taking into account all that has been exposed in previous lines, this novel was well ahead of its time, in that it demolished some of the social constructs that had been created around the ideal masculine. By exposing the cracks in this topic, the work invites the reader to an analysis of gender roles and the expectations imposed by society. This questioning is important to bring about a perspective shift in the understanding of what it means to be a man today. In this sense, I would like to complement the information with a part of the quote proposed by Teck in his research, The Vulnerability of Men Swimming Upstream Toward Intimacy. So he says, through this video essay, we would like to invite you to reflect on certain social constructions that have emerged around this issue. It is crucial that our society recognize the urgency of a more inclusive and empathetic masculinity, avoiding as much as possible those stereotypes that often generate difficulties for some people, in this case, men. We would also like to pose the following question for you to internalize and reflect.
In conclusion, The Fight Club is not only a literary work that challenges the social constructs surrounding the masculine ideal, but also represents a profound analysis of human complexity and the internal struggles faced by individuals in a world dominated by external expectations and pressures. Through the exploration of masculinity, aggression, and the search for identity, the novel extends an invitation to reflect on the self-imposed limitations of social norms, and to question the ingrained values and beliefs that dictate ideal behavior towards others. Ultimately, The Fight Club prompts to imagine a future where masculinity is understood in more compassionate terms, where vulnerability and authenticity are valued as much as strength and independence, and where each individual can find the freedom to be truly himself in a world that often demands the opposite. What conclusions have you reached so far? What resonances does this reflection leave with you? Let us know in the comments.